ready to head back to Middle-earth.
Always.
Well, today our deep dive takes us into The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
Okay.
But through the lens of the original screenplay, we've got the entire script as our guide.
Wow.
And trust me, it's fascinating to see how this epic story was translated from page to screen.
It's like peeking behind the curtain, you know, to uncover all those choices that the writers made, how they adapted Tolkien's complex world, and what details they chose to emphasize.
Exactly. And that's what we're here to explore. We're not going to rehash the entire plot.
Right.
You already know how it ends.
Everybody does.
But instead, we'll uncover some hidden gems about character motivation. We'll dissect key scenes and maybe even discover something new about this beloved story.
I think you'll be surprised by how much the screenplay reveals about the characters' inner struggles and the themes that run throughout the trilogy.
Ooh, that gets me even more excited. So let's start at the very beginning, shall we? The scene with Smeagol finding the One Ring.
Okay.
It all starts with a simple fishing trip, right?
Yeah.
Two hobbit cousins, Deagle and Smeagol, out for a day of fun.
Right. But the screenplay wastes no time in establishing the ring's power.
Right.
Deagle pulls that ring from the riverbed.
Yeah.
And it's like a switch flips in Smeagol. The language is so stark. The screenplay describes how the gold reflects in Smeagol's eyes.
Wow.
And then that chilling line, "Give us that, Deagle, my love."
Oh, wow.
It's subtle, but so effective in showing how quickly the ring's possessiveness takes root.
It's almost like the ring calls to a darkness already within him.
Yeah.
Isn't it? And it's not just his words that change.
No.
The screenplay emphasizes Smeagol's physical transformation as well.
Absolutely.
His body twists and distorts, turning him into a creepy, shriveled wretch.
Exactly. And this scene is crucial because it sets the stage for everything that follows. The ring isn't just a powerful object.
Right.
It's a corrupting force that preys on weakness, twisting even the most innocent soul into something monstrous.
Wow. That's a pretty chilling way to start things off.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about the challenges Frodo will face as the ring bearer. I mean, if you could do that to Smeagol, what chance does Frodo have?
That's the central tension of the entire story, isn't it? The ring's seductive power versus the strength of Frodo's spirit. But before we get too deep into that, I want to jump ahead to a lighter moment.
Okay, I'm all for a little levity. Where are we headed?
Let's talk about Merry and Pippin feasting in Isengard.
Okay.
After all that darkness with Smeagol.
Yeah.
The writers give us this hilarious scene. It's brilliant pacing, really.
Oh, I love this scene. It's like a breath of fresh air amidst all the doom and gloom.
Exactly.
These two hobbits are lounging amidst the ruins of Isengard.
Yeah.
Stuffing their faces, completely oblivious to the war raging around them.
It's classic Merry and Pippin finding joy in the simplest things. The screenplay really captures their personalities through the dialogue. Like when Pippin says, "I feel like I'm back at the Green Dragon after a hard day's work," and Merry retorts, "Only you've never done a hard day's work."
It's such a great reminder that even in the midst of these epic events, the hobbits remain true to themselves.
Yeah.
Their friendship, their love of food and laughter.
Yeah.
It's a source of strength and resilience.
Absolutely. It reminds us that even in the darkest of times, there's still room for lightheartedness and connection. But those moments of levity often serve to highlight the gravity of the situation.
Okay.
Which brings us to a scene that takes a darker turn.
Uh-oh, you're making me nervous.
Yeah.
What scene are we talking about?
Pippin's fateful look into the Palantir. This is where things get really interesting.
Oh, Pippin. Always getting into trouble.
Yeah.
But for those who may need a quick refresher, can you explain what the Palantir is and why it's so dangerous?
Of course. The Palantir, as described in the screenplay, is like a seeing stone, but with a dark twist.
Okay.
It's this muddy white water glowing with golden light.
Wow.
It can show you visions of distant places and people.
Okay.
But it can also be used to manipulate and control those who look into it.
So it's a powerful tool that can be easily corrupted.
Exactly.
No wonder Gandalf was so wary of it.
And Pippin, being the curious hobbit he is, can't resist the temptation to take a peek.
Of course not.
But what he sees has terrifying consequences.
Right.
He inadvertently alerts Sauron to the Fellowship's mission and puts everyone at risk.
The screenplay describes the Palantir's power as this sickly pale light that spreads onto Pippin's face.
Yeah.
It's like Sauron's evil influences reaching out, trying to ensnare him. It's a turning point in the story.
Yeah.
A reminder that even seemingly small actions
can
have huge consequences.
And speaking of consequences,
Uh-oh.
Pippin's actions directly impact another character
Okay.
whose story is about to unfold. Denethor, the steward of Gondor.
Okay.
His story is a tragic one,
Yes.
shaped by grief, paranoia, and ultimately despair.
Oh, Denethor. He's such a complex character.
Mm-hmm.
I always felt conflicted about him. On the one hand, he's burdened with the responsibility of leading Gondor in a time of war.
Right.
But on the other hand, his grief over Boromir and his distrust of Gandalf and Aragorn lead him to make some terrible choices.
The screenplay does a brilliant job of portraying Denethor's descent into madness.
Yeah.
We see him clutching Boromir's broken horn, saying, "Perhaps you come to tell me why my son is dead."
That's so sad.
It's a heartbreaking scene that reveals the depths of his pain.
His dialogue is so laced with bitterness and resentment. He accuses Gandalf of using Gondor for his own purposes, saying, "With your left hand, you would use me as a shield against Mordor, and with your right, you would seek to supplant me." He's convinced that everyone is plotting against him, and it ultimately leads to his downfall.
What's fascinating here is that Denethor isn't simply a villain.
Right.
He's a broken man burdened by loss and consumed by fear.
Yeah.
The screenplay gives us glimpses of his internal conflict, the torment that drives him to make such devastating choices.
Right, and his story really makes you think about the destructive nature of unchecked grief.
Yeah.
And how easily power can corrupt, even those with good intentions.
Definitely.
It's a cautionary tale, for sure. But maybe we need something a little less intense before we dive into the next part of our deep dive.
I agree. How about we take a detour into one of the most visually stunning and eerie parts of the film, the Paths of the Dead.
Ooh. Yes. Just the name sends shivers down my spine.
It's a masterclass in building suspense.
Yeah.
The screenplay sets the stage with vivid descriptions of shadowed ridges, creepy dark doors, and ominously muffled thud as the horse's hooves strike the ground.
I love how the screenplay uses sensory details to create a sense of dread and anticipation. We feel the cold, damp air, hear the whispers of the wind, and almost smell the decay.
And then we're introduced to the spectral warriors themselves.
Okay.
Ghostly faces, rusting weapons, tattered banners. It's a visual feast of decay and dread, creating this palpable atmosphere of fear and unease.
And the King of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about creepy. He literally steps out of the rock wall with his eyeless sockets, rotten teeth, pale sickly glow.
Right.
It's like something straight out of a nightmare.
It's a brilliant way to introduce Aragorn's lineage and his destiny.
Right.
The screenplay makes it clear that only the true king of Gondor can command the army of the dead.
Right.
And Aragorn is the only one who can fulfill this ancient oath.
His confrontation with the King of the Dead is such a pivotal moment. It's terrifying and exhilarating.
Yeah.
As Aragorn confronts not only the ghosts of the past, but also his own fears.
Absolutely. It's a test of his courage, his leadership, and ultimately his right to rule. And speaking of tests, remember that Gollum initially planned to lead Frodo and Sam right into Shelob's lair.
Oh, Gollum. He's such a slippery character.
I know.
It's hard to know whether to pity him or fear him.
He's fascinating, isn't he? The screenplay does a remarkable job of capturing his internal struggle, the constant battle between Smeagol, the innocent hobbit he once was, and Gollum, the creature consumed by the ring.
We see this conflict play out in several scenes.
Yeah.
Remember when Sam catches Gollum talking to himself?
Oh, yeah.
Muttering about how the precious will be ours once the hobbitses are dead?
Oh.
It's chilling to see how close he is to giving in to his darker impulses.
But then there are those moments when Frodo manages to appeal to Smeagol's better nature, reminding him of his promise. And for a brief time, it seems like Smeagol might regain control.
But those moments are fleeting, aren't they?
Yeah.
The screenplay makes it clear that this struggle between good and evil within Gollum is far from over.
Right.
And it's this struggle that makes his character so compelling and unpredictable.
It's a constant push and pull, and we're left wondering which side will ultimately prevail.
Yeah.
But for now, I think we should take a break and come back to Gollum's story later.
Agreed. We've covered a lot of ground, and I think it's time to let these ideas settle a bit before we dive into the next act of the story.
Welcome back. When we left off, Frodo and Sam were at the mercy of Gollum's twisted schemes. And let me tell you, the screenplay doesn't pull any punches in showing just how treacherous their situation is about to become.
You're not kidding. We're about to enter Shelob's lair.
Yeah.
which even reading it on the page is utterly terrifying.
It is.
But before we get there, we need to talk about what happens to Frodo after his encounter with Shelob.
Yes. This section of the screenplay is a masterclass in creating a sense of claustrophobia and despair.
Okay.
We go from the vast landscapes of Middle-earth to the cramped, brutal confines of Cirith Ungol, the orc stronghold, where Frodo is taken prisoner.
It's like the walls are closing in on him, both literally and figuratively. The screenplay emphasizes Frodo's vulnerability, describing him as stripped of his belongings, weak and despairing.
Right.
He's practically reduced to an object referred to as this fellow by the orcs.
It's a brilliant way to highlight how the ring has taken its toll on him, stripping away his strength and identity. And the orcs themselves, Shagrat and Gorbag, are vividly drawn. They're not just mindless villains. They're petty and squabbling, arguing over Frodo's mithril vest as if it were a child's toy.
That's what I find so interesting about the screenplay. Even the orcs have distinct personalities and motivations. They're not just faceless monsters. They're characters in their own right.
Exactly. And their bickering leads to a full-blown orc civil war.
Oh, wow.
Which, amidst all the darkness, provides a bit of dark humor.
Oh, absolutely. It's like even in the depths of Mordor, there's still room for petty squabbles and power struggles. It's almost a reminder of the folly of war, how easily conflicts can escalate over the smallest things.
But amidst this chaos, a glimmer of hope appears.
Okay.
Samwise Gamgee, the ever-faithful gardener, to the rescue.
Talk about a heroic entrance. The screenplay has him bursting into the tower yelling, "That's for Frodo! And for the Shire!" And that's for my old gaffer. It's a moment that gives me chills every time I read it.
It's pure Samwise, isn't it? His unwavering loyalty and fierce determination are on full display. He's not a warrior, but he's willing to fight with everything he has to save his friend.
And their reunion in the tower is so emotionally charged.
Oh, I know.
Sam seeing Frodo lying there thinking he's dead, it's heartbreaking.
But
it also highlights the deep bond between them. A bond that even the ring can't break.
You're right. It's a testament to the power of friendship and the enduring strength of the human spirit. But even though Sam has rescued Frodo, their ordeal is far from over.
That's true.
They still have to escape Cirith Ungol and make their way to Mount Doom.
And this is where the screenplay really ramps up the tension. Shelob's lair, a place of nightmares.
It's a masterclass in creating a sense of dread. The screenplay doesn't hold back on the vivid descriptions. Shelob is described as a huge, loathsome spider towering over Frodo.
Oh my gosh.
2 great clusters of many-windowed eyes protrude from her bulbous head.
Ugh. It's enough to make your skin crawl. And the way the screenplay builds suspense, as Frodo and Sam make their way through the tunnels, feeling the stickiness of the webs,
I know,
smelling the Orsizi's filth, and hearing the bubbling hiss as Shelob stalks her prey.
Oh, wow.
It's terrifyingly immersive.
The writers really wanted you to feel like you were right there with Frodo and Sam, experiencing the terror firsthand.
And when Shelob finally attacks, it's a whirlwind of action and terror. The screenplay describes it as a wild blur of thrashing legs as Frodo desperately tries to defend himself.
And amidst this chaos, we see Frodo's resilience. He calls upon the light of Arundel, his gift from Galadriel, to fend off Shelob. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of places, hope can still flicker.
It's a small victory, but a significant one.
Absolutely.
It shows that Frodo hasn't completely succumbed to the ring's influence. He's still fighting, still clinging to the hope of completing his mission.
But his troubles are far from over.
Oh, no.
The sting from Shelob leaves him paralyzed and vulnerable.
Oh, gal.
And he's captured by orcs, believing that Sam is dead. This is where we really see the depths of Frodo's despair.
Oh, absolutely. He's lost his best friend. He's physically and emotionally exhausted. And the ring's hold on him is stronger than ever. It's a bleak moment. And the screenplay doesn't shy away from the darkness.
But even in this darkness, there's a glimmer of hope. Remember, Sam isn't dead, and when he discovers that Frodo has been taken captive, he sets off on a rescue mission, proving once again that he's the true hero of the story.
I love that. Samwise Gamgee, the unsung hero, always stepping up when it matters most. But while Sam is on his way to rescue Frodo, let's shift our focus back to the battle for Middle-earth. Theoden,
All right.
King of Rohan is preparing his riders for
Yeah.
what might be their final stand.
This is one of the most powerful sections of the screenplay.
Okay.
Theoden's speech to his riders
Mm-hmm.
is both a rallying cry and a lament.
Right.
He knows the odds are stacked against them,
Yeah.
but he's determined to fight for what he believes in for the future of his people.
There's a sense of somber acceptance in his words. He tells his men, "Arise, arise, riders of Theoden. Spears shall be shaken, shields shall be splintered. A sword day, a red day ere the sun rises."
Wow.
It's a powerful blend of defiance and resignation,
Yeah.
recognizing the possibility of defeat, but choosing to face it with courage.
And the screenplay visually reinforces this sense of impending doom.
Yeah.
The sky is dark, the clouds heavy, as if the world itself is holding its breath,
Oh, wow.
waiting for the inevitable clash.
But there's also that glimmer of hope,
Yes.
that ray of sunlight breaking through the clouds, just as the Rohirrim charge.
Yeah.
It's a subtle detail,
Mm-hmm.
but it speaks volumes about the enduring spirit of hope, even in the face of overwhelming odds.
It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times,
Yeah.
there's always the possibility of light breaking through.
Speaking of light breaking through, let's talk about Eowyn.
Okay.
She defies tradition and disguises herself as a man to ride into battle,
Right.
refusing to be relegated to the sidelines.
Yeah.
It's a powerful statement about her courage and determination.
She's not just fighting for Rohan, she's fighting for her right
Right.
to choose her own destiny. And Mary, despite being told that hobbits don't belong in war,
Yeah.
insists on joining the fight as well.
It's a testament to the fact that courage can be found
Yeah.
in the most unexpected places.
Right.
And it leads to one of the most iconic moments in the film,
Oh, yeah.
Eowyn's confrontation with the Witch King.
This scene is brilliantly executed in the screenplay.
Okay.
The Witch King, this terrifying figure of darkness,
Right.
taunts Eowyn, saying, "No man can kill me, die."
Oh, wow.
But Eowyn, with her defiant spirit,
Yeah.
throws back her helmet, revealing her long hair, and
Yes.
declares, "I am no man."
It gives me chills every time. It's such a powerful moment of defiance,
Yeah.
challenging not only the Witch King's power,
Mm-hmm.
but also the societal norms that have tried to confine her.
It's a pivotal moment for Eowyn and for the entire story.
Mhm.
It shows that even those who have been underestimated and marginalized
Yeah.
can rise up and challenge the forces of darkness.
And then Mary, the seemingly insignificant hobbit,
Right.
plays a crucial role in the Witch King's downfall.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reminder that even the smallest person can make a difference,
Yeah.
that everyone has a part to play in the fight against evil.
And while this epic battle is unfolding, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli are on their own perilous quest.
Right.
Remember, they're on their way to summon the army of the dead, journey into the heart of darkness.
The Paths of the Dead. This section of the screenplay is a visual and auditory feast of dread.
Yes.
We're talking about shattered ridges,
Yeah.
creepy dark doors,
Mm.
and an ominously muffled thud as the horse's hooves strike the ground.
And then, of course, there's the King of the Dead himself.
Yes.
He emerges from the rock wall with his eyeless sockets, rotten teeth, pale, sickly glow.
Yeah.
He's everything we imagined and more.
It's such a chilling scene.
Mhm.
But Aragorn doesn't back down.
Right.
He faces the King of the Dead with courage and determination,
Yeah.
wielding Andúril, the reforged sword of Elendil.
This confrontation is a pivotal moment for Aragorn.
Mm-hmm.
It's a test of his lineage, his right to rule,
Right.
and his ability to command these spectral warriors.
And it's a gamble.
Yeah.
Because the army of the dead is bound by a curse,
Right.
unable to find peace until their oath is fulfilled. But Aragorn's courage pays off.
He does.
He challenges the King of the Dead, declaring, "I am Isildur's heir. Fight for me,
Yeah.
and I will hold your oath fulfilled."
It's a powerful moment of defiance.
Yes.
As Aragorn embraces his destiny and asserts his authority.
Right.
And the dead agree to fight for him, giving him a powerful, albeit creepy, army to aid in the fight against Sauron.
It's a turning point in the war,
Right.
a sign that hope is not yet lost.
Absolutely.
But back in Minas Tirith,
Uh-oh.
things are going from bad to worse.
Yeah.
The orcs have breached the city walls,
Right.
and Denethor's descent into madness has reached its peak.
Denethor's story is a tragedy, and the screenplay doesn't shy away from portraying the destructive nature of unchecked grief and despair. Driven by the loss of Boromir and the belief that all is lost,
Yeah.
Denethor orders his men to abandon their posts.
Remember that chilling line? Flee. Flee for your lives. It's a moment of utter chaos and despair
Yeah.
as the city falls into disarray.
And then in a horrifying act of self-destruction, Denethor tries to burn himself and Faramir alive.
It's a scene that's hard to watch even on the page.
I know.
Denethor's grief has completely consumed him, leading him to make choices that are both heartbreaking and terrifying.
Thankfully, Gandalf and Pippin arrive just in time to intervene.
Oh, good.
But Denethor's fate is sealed.
Yeah.
He throws himself from the highest point of Minas Tirith, consumed by flames, both literal and metaphorical.
It's a tragic end to a complex character.
It is.
But even in Denethor's downfall, the screenplay offers a glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
Pippin's small act of heroism in saving Faramir reminds us that even amidst darkness, there are those who will fight for what's right.
And as Denethor's story comes to a close, the battle for Minas Tirith rages on the Rohirrim, led by Theoden, charge into battle, but they're facing overwhelming odds.
The screenplay captures the sheer scale and brutality of the battle.
It does.
We see mighty wooden catapults firing.
Oh, wow.
Nazgûl swooping down, and Orcs swarming like a tide.
It's chaotic. It's a chaotic and terrifying spectacle.
Right.
A testament to the destructive power of war.
And amidst this chaos, Theoden meets his end, falling beneath the weight of the Witch King's fell beast.
It's heroic but heartbreaking.
It is.
A reminder of the sacrifices made in the fight against evil.
But Theoden's final words to Eowyn are filled with love and hope.
Yes.
He tells her, "My body is broken. You have to let me go. I go to my father's, in whose mighty company I shall not now feel ashamed." It's a beautiful and poignant farewell.
It's a reminder that even in death, there can be honor and peace.
Right.
And as Theoden's story ends, Aragorn arrives with the army of the dead, turning the tide of the war.
The arrival of the dead is both terrifying and awe-inspiring. The screenplay describes them as a ghoulish army that swarms into the flank of the Orcs army, striking fear into the hearts of the enemy.
It's a visually stunning and unsettling sequence as the dead cut through the orc ranks like a spectral wave.
Wow.
And it gives Aragorn the opportunity to confront Sauron's forces at the Black Gate.
The confrontation to the Black Gate is a pivotal moment.
It is.
A death to buy Frodo and Sam time to destroy the ring.
Aragorn, standing before the towering gates of Mordor, challenges Sauron, demanding justice. It's a bold move, a testament to his courage and his unwavering belief in the power of good to overcome evil.
And Aragorn's speech to his men is one of the most rousing moments in the film.
I agree.
He acknowledges their fear, but urges them to stand firm, saying, "The day may come when the courage of men fails, but it is not this day." It's a powerful call to action, reminding his men of what they're fighting for.
Right.
What's at stake.
It's a testament to Aragorn's leadership.
Yeah.
His ability to inspire hope and courage even in the face of certain defeat.
Yeah. And as the Battle of the Black Gate rages on, we turn our attention back to Frodo and Sam, who are making their final agonizing push towards Mount Doom.
This is where the screenplay really captures the sheer physical and emotional toll of their journey. They're exhausted, starving, and the weight of the ring is bearing down on Frodo with crushing force.
The screenplay describes Frodo as walking half-bowed, often stumbling.
Right.
His hand pressed against his chest as if to ward off an invisible blow.
The landscape itself reflects their inner turmoil. The hellish, dry landscape of twisted volcanic rock and steaming fissures mirrors the torment they're enduring.
And then just when they think they've reached their goal, Gollum reappears, like a shadow lurking in the background, waiting for the opportune moment to strike.
He's the embodiment of the ring's corrupting power.
And his reappearance signals that Frodo and Sam's trials are far from over.
The struggle between Frodo, Sam, and Gollum on the slopes of Mount Doom is a brutal and chaotic affair.
Right.
The screenplay doesn't shy away from the violence, depicting Gollum's desperation and Frodo's growing weakness.
And then, in a moment of both triumph and tragedy, Gollum bites off Frodo's finger, taking the ring for himself, but his victory is short-lived. He loses his balance and falls into the fiery chasm of Mount Doom, taking the ring with him.
It's a fitting end for Gollum.
It is.
A creature so consumed by the ring's power that he ultimately destroys himself. And with the ring's destruction, Sauron's power collapses, and the battle for Middle-earth is won.
It's a moment of victory, but it's also a moment of profound loss. Frodo has sacrificed so much, and the world he knew is forever changed. But the story isn't over yet.
That's true.
We still have to see the aftermath.
The rebuilding of a world shattered by war.
That's what makes this final act so compelling.
Yes.
It's not just about victory. It's about healing, forgiveness,
Right.
and the enduring power of hope. We'll explore all of that and more
We will.
in part 3 of our deep dive. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into the Return of the King screenplay.
I'm ready.
We've witnessed epic battles, harrowing journeys, and the ultimate triumph of good over evil. But the world of Middle-earth is forever changed by the events we've just explored.
Absolutely. The final act of this screenplay is about so much more than just the resolution of the war.
Right.
It's about healing, both physical and emotional. It's about confronting the lasting impact of trauma and finding hope amidst the ruins.
I'm especially curious to see how the screenplay handles the aftermath of the battle. We have characters like Frodo, who's endured unimaginable suffering, and Aragorn, who's about to step into his role as king of a kingdom that's been ravaged by war.
You've hit on two of the most compelling storylines in this final act. The writers give us these beautiful moments of quiet reflection amidst the celebrations, reminding us that even in victory, there's a sense of loss and a need for healing.
Let's start with Aragorn. He's finally been crowned king.
Okay.
But what kind of king will he be? The Gondor we see at the end of the film is a far cry from the glorious kingdom it once was.
And the screenplay doesn't shy away from the challenges Aragorn faces,
Right.
but it also highlights his compassion and his determination to rebuild not just the physical structures of Gondor, but also its spirit.
Remember that scene where he heals Faramir, Eowyn, and Merry?
I love that scene.
It's more than just a display of his healing powers. It's a symbolic act that sets the tone for his reign.
I love how it's written. The screenplay describes Aragorn placing his hands on the wounded, and this gentle light emanates from him.
Right.
It's almost like we're seeing his kingly aura for the first time.
It's a powerful visual.
Yeah.
And it speaks volumes about Aragorn's leadership style.
Yeah.
He's not just a warrior.
Right.
He's healer, a unifier, a leader who understands that true strength lies in compassion and understanding.
It's such a stark contrast to Denethor, who ruled through fear and control. Aragorn's power is about bringing people together.
Right.
About inspiring hope in a world that's been shattered by darkness.
And his coronation scene is the culmination of this journey.
Oh, the coronation scene?
Yeah.
It's pure cinematic brilliance. The screenplay describes the court of the kings as crowded with 4,000 people, cramming the wide path leading to the Tower Hall.
Wow.
It's this incredible visual representation of the unity Aragorn has inspired. Everyone is there to witness the dawn of a new era.
And Gandalf's words. As he places the crown upon Aragorn's head. Now come the days of the king. May they be blessed.
Gives me chills.
It always gives me chills. You can feel the weight of history and the hope for the future all in that one moment.
It's the fulfillment of prophecy and the beginning of a new chapter for Gondor.
And Aragorn's speech to his people is just as powerful. He says, "This day does not belong to one man, but to all. Let us together rebuild this world that we may share in the days of peace."
So good.
He's not claiming victory for himself.
Right.
He's sharing it with all those who fought alongside him.
It's a message of unity and reconciliation, a call to action to heal the wounds of the past and move forward together.
And then, of course, we have the reunion between Aragorn and Arwen. Talk about a fairy tale ending.
It's a beautiful moment, and the screenplay really emphasizes Arwen's choice. She's given up immortality to be with Aragorn, to share in his destiny. It's a testament to the power of love and the belief in a brighter future.
It's a reminder that even amidst all the darkness and destruction, love and hope can prevail.
Absolutely.
But what about the hobbits? After all they've been through,
they
finally return home to the Shire.
Yeah, but as we know, things aren't quite the same.
Right. The Shire has been touched by the darkness of the outside world.
It has.
Saruman, in a final act of spite, has exploited its resources and disrupted its peaceful way of life. It's a harsh reminder that evil can take root anywhere, even in the most idyllic of places.
It's almost like a microcosm of what's happened to the rest of Middle-earth.
Right.
The hobbits have returned home victorious, but they've also been changed by their experiences. They've seen the horrors of war and the depths of human cruelty.
Especially Frodo.
Yeah.
He bears the deepest scars.
Of course.
Both physically and emotionally.
Right.
The screenplay doesn't shy away from portraying the lasting impact of trauma.
Right.
He's no longer the carefree hobbit who set out on this adventure. He's seen too much, suffered too much.
It's heartbreaking, but it's also realistic.
Yeah.
The writers acknowledge that even though the war is over,
Right.
the wound's battle can linger long after the fighting has ceased.
But even amidst this darkness, there are glimmers of hope. Sam's marriage to Rosie Cotton and his return to gardening are symbols of this hope. Life goes on, and there's beauty to be found in the simple things.
Yes.
In the everyday acts of love and creation.
And Frodo's decision to sail west with the elves,
Yeah.
while bittersweet, is also a hopeful ending. He's leaving behind the Shire, the place he fought so hard to protect.
Right.
But he's also finding a place of healing and renewal.
It's a recognition that some wounds never fully heal.
Yeah.
But there's always the possibility of finding peace and understanding.
Right.
And the screenplay's final image of Frodo sailing into the sunset is a beautiful metaphor for this journey towards healing and closure.
It is.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Return of the King's screenplay,
Okay.
what stands out to you as the most significant takeaway?
The screenplay is so much more than just a blueprint for a film. It's a testament to the power of storytelling.
Yeah.
The way it can transport us to other worlds, make us feel deeply, and leave us with lasting impressions.
I couldn't agree more. It's been a fascinating journey exploring the intricacies of the screenplay.
It has.
Uncovering hidden depths and gaining a new appreciation for the artistry involved in bringing this epic story to life.
What resonated most with you? What details or insights will you carry with you as you revisit the film?
That's a great question for all of us to ponder. For me, it's the way the screenplay balances the epic scale of the story with the intimate moments of character development. It's a reminder that even in the grandest of narratives, it's the human element that truly captivates us.
Well said. I encourage everyone to seek out the full screenplay or revisit the film with these new insights in mind.
Yeah.
You might be surprised by what you discover.
Thank you for joining us on this epic deep dive
Thanks, everyone.
into The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King screenplay. Until next time,
Bye.
may your journeys be filled with adventure and may your stories be full of hope.